everybody. Good day. Thank you for joining us. We have another edition of our IMG success stories, which I know that you guys all love to hear from, and I love interviewing them. My name is Amanda. I'm the Director of Communications for Match Resident. I love working with ambassadors and supporting our community, for those of you that don't know me. And we have a great guest today. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, Amanda, and hi to everyone on the Match Resident community. I'm Parul, and I'm an IMG from India. First of all, I'm very excited to be here, so thank you for having me. I am a 2023 graduate from North India, and I applied the cycle and matched into internal medicine residency at Michigan State University Sparrow Hospital, Lansing. I'm very excited for this new chapter of my journey. So thank you for having me once again.
Thank you for joining us. That's really exciting. So you were a non-US IMG?
Yes, I was non-US IMG.
Did you know going into medical school that you wanted to pursue residency in the US? Was that something you decided while you were in medical school?
Actually, no. So I was actually preparing for my own home country examination for major part of my med school. But then in final year, my perspective shifted. I knew I wanted to go towards more of the research-based career, in integration with clinical medicine. And then I started looking for options. And I came across US and I heard about the pathway from my seniors and my friends, and I started to give it a try. And as I went through the journey, I fell in love with it and I just cruised. So yeah, here I am.
Wow, you just cruised. Honestly, that's not a word that I hear often when I talk about the residency application process, that you just jived with it and you really loved it. Usually it's like really stressful. But did you find that because you had like enough guidance and people around you who had gone through it, it was a bit less stressful?
So here's the thing. When I started my journey, I've always been a person who needs more certainty into things that I'm doing. And USMLE itself is a process that is known for its uncertainty. Like you can do every single thing. You can do your rotations, you can have good scores, you can have ample number of interviews, but still the match is never guaranteed. And that is something that as IMGs and as applicants itself, we all know. So I knew it pretty much. But when I started with the journey, I got a lot stressed, thinking about everything. Oh, I'm, left with step one, left with research, left with step two. And it became really overwhelming. So I started taking it one step at a time. And I think that made all the difference because that one step at a time approach helped me to keep my stress at bay and actually enjoy the journey and the growth that came along with it.
Mm-hmm. So
As
when
far
you,
as,
I'm sorry,
sorry, yeah.
how did
As
you
far
make
as
it?
guidance is concerned,
No, you go.
So, as far as guidance is concerned, yes, I have been very lucky in that respect. I had my immediate senior who was doing the same pathway, and he's current PGY1 at one of the hospitals in the United States. So he used to guide me all through and tell me about the nuances of the process. Along with that, I connected with a lot of fellow IMGs through my own Instagram channel, which helped me a lot. Sharing knowledge and sharing opportunities. That's really how we go.
Yeah, I love that. I wanted to ask you, so you said you broke it down step by step. Did you put like a clear timeline on each thing where you like, I'm going to do 6 months for this? Or did you kind of just be like, I just need to focus solely on this. And then when I'm done with this, I'll go to the next step?
So up until step one, I don't think I put a proper timeline on the things that I had to do. I just wanted to see how step one goes and decide from there on.
Mhm.
So I think for most of the applicants, including myself, things take a pace when you're done with step one. It's like an entry into the whole pathway. So that's how it went for me. I did my step one in December of 2021 after about 6 months of preparation during my internship year itself. And after that, I had to take a major decision of either applying for Match 2022 or Match 2023. So after a lot of, ifs, buts, and a lot of thought process, I decided on 2023 just so that my CV would be, much more well-rounded and stronger when I actually go to apply for the match. And that's when I decided on a timeline. That's when I knew that, I have to take a break in my internship. I have to go do my electives, come back, and then start with step two. I did my electives from June 2022 to September of 2022. Came back and started preparing for step two in November starting of 2022.
Mhm.
And yeah, so here's the funny part. I actually gave my step two in 2.5 months.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah.
Crazy.
So
That
yeah,
is
that was
crazy.
definitely, yeah, that was like my Mount Everest to climb there. But yeah, I did that. I gave my step 2 in January, and from there on, I knew that my timeline was set. I had to, give my OET at the around the same time, apply for match that year. So I have to, put in all my publications that were, under works on the go now so that they can be published before I apply for the cycle. I had a research position interview coming up, which I got fortunately, and I had that planned out for June through October. So I knew I had to be there while preparing for step 3. So I kind of started a little bit early, gave about 1.5 to 2 months time for step 3, and gave it in
Mhm.
August. So that's how my timeline went. Like I said, after step 1, it pretty much became into perspective that how I have to go. But before step 1, I had no clue.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you applied with step 3. That's
Yeah, I
impressive. That's
did.
good. That is really good. People ask us all the time, what's something that you can do to bolster your application? Obviously, it takes time to prepare for step 3, but if you can do it, then it's great for you. Um, so for you, when time came for application season, you pretty much knew what specialty you wanted to go for. No, you didn't? Oh,
I
okay.
did.
So
I did. No, I
oh, you
did.
did. You did. Okay, I thought so. I was
Yeah.
like, 'cause you said, yeah. So you knew what specialty you wanted to go for. Was it easy for you to decide on programs? How did you decide? Did you apply to a lot of programs? How was that process for you?
So as a non-US IMG, the most common, guidance that we receive from our seniors and mentors is to apply broadly. And that is very well known to everybody.
Yeah.
And definitely that's something I had in my mind, going into the math season, that I have to apply to at least 200 programs. Like that
Mhm.
was the least that I kept for myself because I wanted to go all in. As simple as that. But coming to making a proper program list, I think a few things definitely helped me. First of all, I took a lot of guidance from my seniors that, how should I go about it? How should I check the program details? How should I verify if they, align with my profile or not? And second thing was MAR's list. So I had access to customized list from MAR itself, and I did check it every time when I was, applying to a program or, keeping it in my saved list, if the program even matched my profile or not, how many, country links I had or the school links I had. So that definitely helped me navigate through the whole cycle of,
Mhm.
applying to programs.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think the best thing that I did it in last 2 3 days, before applying, was checking every website of the programs I applied to. And
Yes.
that helped me filter out a lot because some of the programs actually mentioned that, we don't take applicants outside of Mississippi. And trust
Mhm.
me, that program was on the list of every single fellow IMG I took.
Yeah. No, that is honestly, it is hard, right? Because there's so many programs and they're updating every year, and sometimes they do have strange little qualifications like that. Like they do want you to be in the area, or they want to know that you're going to come back and like stay there once you're done with residency, things like that. Um, so for you, I noticed you said you use Match Resident because you mentioned School Link and Country Link. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, it will actually tell you what programs have had an applicant who matched from your school there or your country. And it will even have like it'll I forget, I think it's applicant link, where it'll show if it's actually someone that has your credentials. So you can kind of compare and can see what programs are actually going to be a good fit for you based on like what they've done in the past. I love that. Okay, so you applied pretty broadly, and then when it came time for interview season, what was that like for you? How did you prepare?
So for interview season, I knew one thing going in, that I have to practice constantly, like, have a pair of friends with me and practice with them every single day. That's something I had in my mindset, going in, because I've heard a lot of people not getting a match because they probably didn't prepare for interviews enough or they were not confident enough. And I didn't want that to be a factor. So I took help from my seniors. I did some mocks with them in the beginning, just to set a pace that, what level was I at that time. And I started framing my own answers to most commonly asked questions. After that, I had two friends with me who were also fellow applicants and matched the cycle with me. So we three used to sit for 1 to 2 hours every day, doing mocks and mocks and mocks. And that went on for 2 months. Like through all my
Wow.
interviews, I had practice of mocks literally every single day.
Wow. Wow. So you were really, yeah. And I don't want to, you don't need to give me the exact amount, but I'm assuming you had a good amount of interviews. So
I had
if
9
you,
interviews.
oh, okay, okay. And did you have that like what months was that? I'm always curious, like when people have the bulk of their interviews.
So, I received my interviews pretty early in the season, like, you know,
Mhm.
until the end of October or early November for most of the
Okay.
interviews. A few definitely came in later as well. So I tried to schedule them pretty close to each other and pretty early. So one first was in October, and then next were in second or third week of November, then in
Mhm.
third week of December coming for the ones that came late.
Okay, so it's still pretty kind of early because some people were still interviewing in like January. So I wasn't sure what that time was like for you. Wow. Okay, so when you had your interview with the program you've matched into, did you know? Did you just have that feeling like this is a great fit?
So yeah, when I was interviewing for the program that I matched into, I was definitely very excited for it, just going in because it was the kind of program that I wanted to go for. It had all the, you know, opportunities that I was looking for in a program, being a university program, offering in-house fellowships, and the area itself. I love Michigan. I wanted to go to Michigan, so it, checked all the boxes for me. So yeah, I was pretty excited. I had two interviews for the program, like with two of the interviewers there, and they both went pretty well as far as I could analyze, and I had a good feeling after that. So yeah, that was pretty much it for me.
So were they ranked number one on your rank order list?
Hmm.
Exciting. You're number one. Exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, obviously you've had a successful journey, and I feel like you've given a lot of great advice here on how to like frame it mentally and how to approach it for those who are incoming.
Mhm.
Is there any other advice that you would give to incoming applicants?
Yeah. So here's the thing. When we start with the USMD process, and the most common advice that we, get from our fellow applicants or probably our seniors is that, do 3 months of USCE, do steps with good scores, let's say step two above 250, and probably do step three and, three, four research papers. That's like the most basic advice that we are always getting from our seniors. But from my experience, I think it's not about that. I think there is no stereotypical applicant, and the more you try to fit into that criteria, the more you become just one from all the herd. You have to stand out. You have to make your application so well-rounded and so dedicated to the specialty you are applying to that it should scream your passion. And not
I
only
agree.
that, it should also scream your own personality, like the person you are.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It should scream your. I always say that. It's literally the most important thing I say in every interview for anyone who watches this. You want to be yourself. You're not here to give them the answers that they think that they want to hear. You're not here to be an applicant that has every single box checked off and has a million different hobbies and is amazing and loves everything. No, you just want to be yourself and come across authentically. You want to be honest about what you're passionate about. Like, it's okay to be like, I really love kayaking, and like I want to come to this
Yeah.
area because you guys have some of the most beautiful rolling hills and I would love to kayak there. That's actually going to stand out more than someone who said, I have a 270 step score and I have this and I have that, because it shows who you are. And at the end of the day, they're going to be spending a lot of time with you. This isn't like they don't want to be with just a robot.
Yeah. And it's also about like when you're in that interview, you're sitting across the screen from the program director or the interviewer, you need to have things to talk about. And those things have to come from your own application. They can't just be talking about, oh, you have, like you said, oh, you have a 270 score or you did 3 months of rotations. Like that's very basic and that's not something they are going to remember you for.
I agree. And you need to come in prepared. It needs to be a conversation. That's something I always say too. Like, interviews should be you interviewing them just as much as them interviewing you. You should go in with an idea of what this program looks like, what the daily life looks like, and seeing if am I actually going to be happy here? Am I going to thrive here? Is this going to give me the tools that I need to be a better doctor? I
Yeah.
completely agree. I love that. It's so funny. Like, I always find that like there are just some things that always are we always say everything happens as it's meant to. So for anyone who didn't match this cycle, this is not the end of your journey. And it doesn't mean that you're not a great doctor. It doesn't mean that you should give up or you should be really angry at yourself. Like, it's a very unpredictable process, the application cycle. And there's no way for you to be sure that you've done everything particularly right. So if you didn't match, maybe just reevaluate, how can I improve my application? And maybe think about those things. Were you presenting yourself as the well-rounded candidate you are, or were you trying to give them what you thought they were looking for? I agree. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Is there anything else that you would want to add for any incoming applicants or applicants who didn't match or anything like that?
I do want to say something for the applicants who unfortunately didn't match this year. I've been receiving a lot of messages, over the past few days that unfortunately I didn't match, and my heart goes out to all of them. But one thing to remember is that, like I said, this is not the end of the road. You have to, reach out to your mentors, reach out to your seniors, have them probably reevaluate your profile and see what you can build upon. There's a lot of things that you can add to your CV or modify the next cycle, and just do that. Just give it another try, because until and unless you don't go all in, you won't get the results you're looking for.
I completely agree. And we've had numerous applicants who have gone through the cycle once or twice, or, maybe even 3 times. Monica, one of our ambassadors, Monica, she went through 3 times before she finally matched. So if you are set on this and this is something that you want to do, there's no reason to think that this is the end of your journey. And there's no reason to think that you're not worthy of finding this residency, because you are.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a great interview, and I feel like I learned a lot from talking to you. So I know that everybody who listens to this is going to as well.
Thank you, Amanda. This was really good talking to you as well. And thank you for having me once again.
Of course, we love having you. I'm sure that we'll have more collaborations in the future. For anyone who is watching us, you can find us on Instagram at Match a Resident. You can find Parul at an IMG's Journey. We will be tagging her. I'm sure she'll take your messages just like we will. If you have any questions or concerns, or if you didn't match and you just need some words of affirmation, we've got you. So thank you everybody for watching us, and thank you again for joining me today, Parul.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.